WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys, and today I'm going to talk about Jim Beam, signature craft. Not exotic? Well, I have the RYE 11-year-old part of the Harvest Bourbon Collection. 375 milliliters, 90 proof, 45 ABV. As part of the Harvest Bourbon Collection, there was a soft red wheat, which I've never ever seen over here. There's a brown rice that I've actually bid on at least 3 different times at different auctions and have always lost. I paid 69 euros for this. Half bottle, about $80. There's the RYE that I have. There's the whole rolled oat, which I haven't seen either. There's the 6-row barley. I've seen that once, but never again. And there's the tri-trickle, which I've also never seen over here for the Harvest Bourbon Collection. Whiskey base number 66230. What does RYE mean with Jim Beam? We do not know. They did not and do not tell us their exact mash bills for the Harvest Bourbon Collections. This came out, according to my research, 2004. Which is 14 years ago, and I'm still amazed that some of these bottles are actually still floating around. Now, if we take a look at the old granddad, which is Jim Beam, this is a RYE. We do know the mash bill here. 63% corn, 27% malted barley, and 27% rye and 10% malted barley. The standard Jim Beam mash bill over here with the signature craft 12-year-old 33%. I'm not a great fan of this, but I wanted to compare the two with each other. So I've already done my German video. Now I just push the button and record it again for the English video. That's why I just left everything set up here. As I mentioned, I bought this on an auction site in the UK. I paid, I don't know how much money. Let's say I paid 49 pounds for it. It takes another 30-35% on top of that to get it over here to Germany. That's the commission for sales, that's the VAT, that's the shipping, that's the all the other things that I have to pay, insurance and so on to get it over here. Every time I buy something over in UK on the auction site, it's about 30-35% additional cost to bring it to my doorstep here in Germany. Would I do it again? Probably not. Do I resent doing it? Not at all. So let's first of all try the nose. This is actually very, very, very nice bourbon nose. It's got some of that spiciness of a good rye. It's got some of the cotton candy in there. It's got a little bit of the wood, and it's supported by a little bit of sweetness, cotton candy. But it's just round, it's coherent, it's actually what I like. Going over here to the Jim Beam Signature Craft 12-year-old, I have a theory, I have a hypothesis. I'm not a great fan of this. But I do know a lot of Scotch drinkers that find their way into the bourbon world via Jim Beam Signature Craft. And I think it's a little bit of my theory that there's a lot of like a green tea leaf in here. It might actually be the white tea leaves that are in here that actually allow the Scotch drinkers to come in here and go, well, that's not that bad. I recognize some stuff that I have also in my Scotch, and it's different. It's much sweeter. It's much more the corn instead of the 100% malted barley. But yet it's for them one of those transitioning type of a tunnel, type of a bridge, a gap to a bridge over that gap between Scotch and bourbons. I, as a bourbon lover, for some reason, this just doesn't push the right buttons with me. It's much too mellow. It's much too soft. It's much too toned down. Let's just say that. Over here, the old granddad, which I used as a RYE example from Jim Beam. This was actually my very, very, very first video I did in German was with the old granddad. If you take a look at my bourbon videos, they always have a orange background. I tried to get this color of orange. That's the reason I have orange. Now, every other country in my videos have a different color. Purple then would be here for Ireland, and we would have green for Austria, and we have blue for Germany and so on. And most of the time I just try to find a contrary color to the flag. And red, white, and blue, red, white, and blue. What could be more of a contrary color than orange? So that's the reason I went for that. And looking back at the Scottish videos, they are brown because you have white and blue for the Scottish flag on the country, and that was just a contrary color. So this just isn't. This is the cheap, good stuff at the beginning. There was Old Grandad 114, which was basically barrel proof almost. That was some very, very interesting stuff. But this normal Old Grandad is some fairly lower shelf bourbon. All right, so going back to our video of the day, our whiskey of the day, we have the RYE. Much better nose. Oh, wow. That RYE really does come through here. It's really nice. Not too much of a heat. 45%, really nice. Spicy. The rye spiciness just kicks in there. It still has that sweet cotton candy moment. And what I really get is those pecan, like a pecan pie from Texas. That sweetness and that nuttiness. I think if we've ever watched It's Bourbon Night, we know that Sarah and Chad, he loves to say nutty. And I do get this nuttiness in here. Very, very nice. Well, I'm going to give this a solid B. Really nice stuff. What I didn't do in my German video, I'm going to do in my English video, is I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of water to this, the magical 3 drops, and I'm going to see what happens with that. Just give it a second here. The sweetness and nuttiness, just it tones it down just a tiny little bit, and it gives it more of a the age comes through, more of the oakiness comes through. Wow. I do prefer it at 45%. The 40%ish that I just had, or 42%, it does tilt it a little bit towards the pecan. It gets rid of the sweetness. A little bit of the oak comes in, kicks in a little bit more. Water does not do this any justice, does not help it whatsoever. Just to compare really quick. I'm going to steal the title of someone else. My Bourbon Journey. I would say on My Bourbon Journey that this is still a C+ type of product. I'm really not partial to it. This is a solid B. And going back over here to Old Grandad. This is the bottom level shelf, which is very, very nice for that. So this is actually going, I prefer Old Grandad to Jim Beam Signature Craft 12-year-old. So sorry, just my palate. All right, value for money, 69 euros, $80 for 375 milliliters. I'm sorry, this is a D minus, but that's not the price you paid in the States way back when. This is the secondary market. This is the European secondary market. This is way, way, way auction time and so on. So I paid a lot more than should have been, but there was no other ways to get my hand on this. All right, very, very good. My WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of American and Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, my videos come out. Probably you've never heard of this. Maybe you've never heard of the Harvest Bourbon Collection with the soft red wheat, the brown rice, the high rye, the whole rolled oat, the 6-row barley, and the tree trackle. But that's what you're here for, to learn about rare and exotic whiskey, even if it is bourbon. Thank you very much for watching. Please share. Please tell others about this crazy American over here in Germany tasting stuff you will probably never get your hands on. Bye-bye.